This man is not whole anymore. He has been broken down.
Breaking right now, new claims that Prince Harry is trying to distance himself from Meghan Markle, his own wife. P-Dina, the royal YouTube sensation, with analysis on this in just 1 minute. But first, here is the claim from Charlotte Griffiths, the editor-at-large of the Mail on Sunday newspaper, on the Daily Mail's Palace Confidential. Watch.
Because behind the scenes, I'm hearing that Harry's been taking advice about how to become more popular. And he wants to kind of get back to that image of him as the cheeky chappy, which is why we saw him over Halloween doing some kind of comedy appearances. And he did one with Jelly Roll where he kind of pretended to get a tattoo. He's trying to get back to that jocular Prince Harry, the Playboy Prince image. And of course, having Meghan by his side doesn't really work with that. So I think it's a bid for him to get popular again. I think that's what he's trying to do. Meghan's reasons, I don't know.
I was going to say, so you think this is all Harry, look, you're killing my buzz. I need to get on with it. You know what I mean? What's Meghan's strategy?
I think partly, but I think Meghan, meanwhile, wants to present herself in the new year as the face of this cookery show, as like sort of Martha Stewart Mark II, as a sort of very sensible cookery, queen. So I suppose they're aiming for different images. I don't know whether, he said to Meghan, "You're cramping my style," but they're aiming for different reputational strategies, so they're doing it separately.
P-Dina, what do you make of it?
Wow, I think it makes so much sense, doesn't it? I mean, Harry really sees the decline of his brand. Everything about him is not looking as I think Meghan told him it would be once they came to California. I think he is looking at himself and really trying to get back his individuality. I think it sets the tone for what is going on possibly within the marriage, because he wants to separate himself and save himself. This is something that I've been talking about over a year ago. I mean, there was talks of him possibly maybe living in New York and, doing the bi-coastal thing with the children. I think this is something that he's prepping for, because he needs to be able to sustain what he is as an individual, because he wants to have that back. I mean, that's the one thing that he needs to have, because everything else has been taken from him. I mean, the things that he had been doing before the Queen had taken away some of his patronages. He has lost some of his, I think, his titles or medals from when he was in the military. This man has lost so much. His identity has been stolen. And now his identity, who is he as a man, is there's nothing there for him anymore. And I can imagine that this is really, he's suffering mentally from this, because he has, I know in the past, we all know, tried to cover up his feelings of mental illness and depression with drugs and alcohol. So I can only imagine that he's trying to sustain himself in a way to keep some clarity within his mind, to go on as an individual, to get something back to make him feel more whole. Because it shows you this man is not whole anymore. He has been broken down. And I know some people don't like it when I, try to take up for him. And, look, he's made his bed. He needs to sleep in it. And I think it's all about, have you learned anything, Harry? Have you learned from these mistakes? I think if people can see that he has learned, he can atone for the past things he's done to his family, I think the majority of people would forgive him. I think it is possible for him to get back what he has lost in terms of this cheeky chap that he once was.
That's gone.
But it's going to
You're
take
40
some,
years old,
looking
mate.
inward.
Your hair is
Yes.
gone. You're 40 years old. You're not a cheeky chappy. We know you're not. See,
No.
P-Dina, this is where I disagree, because I do not believe he can get it back. I find what he has done unforgivable. I mean, let's look at this court case, which I've offered to give evidence in, and might, next month. Now, that court case, he claims, right, it's to try and show to the world, that the British press are terrible people. But what this is actually about is personal vengeance, and also trying to embarrass his family member. These court cases that he is pursuing against the British media involve emails being revealed that his grandmother, his late grandmother, allowed her staff to send privately. He wants to embarrass his father. He wants to embarrass his brother, even now. Even, by the way, P-Dina, when his father is undergoing treatment for serious cancer and his brother is trying to balance his own dad and his own wife having cancer. That to me is sick. And in fact, I mean, you know, I'm never one to stick up for Meghan Markle, but maybe one of the most sensible things she did, and she doesn't do many sensible things, is say to Prince Harry, quit these lawsuits because they're not making you happy. So I don't think he has it in him to change. I think he's so bitter. And then the other point I would make is, look, no matter what we think about Meghan, he was the one that went all in on her. And then isn't there something quite grim about him all of a sudden saying, oh, I'm now mortified to be associated with my own wife in public? Doesn't that say something about where Harry is at?
I do. I think it does say something about where he is at. He has definitely made some poor choices. I'm always hopeful for people to learn and to be better. And I think what you're saying is it makes a lot of sense, but I think maybe he is starting to see what has happened because he's now starting to distance himself from Maggie. So that means he has to see what she has done to him. Perhaps maybe he is not genuine in what he's still pursuing. Maybe he feels like he has to still do it. I just feel like he's starting to see it. And I think when he sees it, I think he gets a little bit more slack for that but I think also you have to also be willing to act on it. And I think acting on what you see now with your wife means separating yourself completely from her. So I think it just depends on whether or not you're going to own up to what you know is the right thing or you're not. And I think if you're going to be stubborn, you're going to hold out and still be this person that's going to, embarrass your family, do things against your family, then no, you should definitely not have forgiveness and people should not give you slack for that. But I think he is starting to see it. It's a process. This is something that's going to take time. They're so intertwined now with things around their branding that it's going to take a while to separate from that. And I think with time, he will probably own up to what he sees now as not being the right thing for your family. I'm always hopeful for that, but he's not out the clear yet. No, not at all. He's still got a ways to go, but we're starting to see he's waking up
Yeah,
to
I
the
know,
reality
but look
of
at
who his
but
wife
that interview,
is.
P-Dina, for example, was awful. It was awful. So yeah, he's waking up to his wife, but what I don't think he's waking up to is what he has done. What he has done to his family, what he has done to his reputation. And if he believes that simply leaving his wife or publicly disassociating with the woman who he allowed to do all of this stuff, personally, I don't think it's going to be enough. And of course, he's trapped in that marriage as it stands because he knows what she has the capability of doing to him.
That's right. And she's going to go all in on him. It's going to be a nightmare for Harry. So I don't know. You better try to make it seem like she doesn't know what he's trying to do because I can tell you she is going to give it to him in a
Well, and
way
we
that's going
know
to
there's
break
stuff there,
him.
P-Dina. We know there's stuff there because Harry was stupid enough to confirm some of it in his own book. Do you remember when he wrote that, I was getting too angry and Meghan came in and said, you can never act like that again around me or I'm gone. So already he has opened himself up to an onslaught and God knows what she would reveal. Or the other thing is he's going to be damned financially. But first, you know how often I talk on this show about the need for free speech to be protected. My goodness, I believe it. But I've been increasingly thinking of the need for personal protection from snoopers, bad actors, and hackers online. And I'm delighted to tell you I've now found the fail-safe solution. But what's more, this VPN, or virtual private network to use the full term, is also a life changer when it comes to providing you entertainment and information from anywhere in the world, wherever you are. So let me introduce you to Surfshark, an incredible and easy-to-use service that encrypts all your internet traffic, meaning your online activity stays safe so you can shop, stream, browse, and conduct your banking online in complete privacy. But the benefits of Surfshark actually go way beyond keeping you safe. It also allows you, and this is what I love, to access your favorite entertainment and news shows and news channels or streaming services, all of the big ones, by the way, Hulu, iPlayer, Peacock, HBO Max, or the international ones. You can watch the GeoBlock shows on Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Disney Plus within seconds. It's also great if you're traveling for work or if you're just on holiday, but you want to get all of your favorite content from home, especially sports coverage. It's also a creeping, I guess it's a creeping way to make sure that you're not impacted by the censorship that is going on in the world too, because some countries do block specific services. So effectively, to sum it up, you can watch anything, anytime, anywhere. This is true freedom. A VPN can also save you money because you can access websites that change their prices depending on which country you are buying from. There are other benefits too. Your whole household can be protected, and you can stay safe with just one subscription, which means you can use lots of different devices, tapping into over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries. Also, if this is your first time using a VPN, and my goodness, I recommend it. I promise you it's incredibly easy. I'm a customer myself. I love it. But there is 24/7 customer service available to you, which does make setting up, just give you that little protection, actually, in case you're nervous about it. What's more, by the way, if you're not happy with Surfshark, they will give you your full money back at any point within 30 days. That shows you the confidence of their service. So how you can do this is go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. Let me just repeat the address: www.surfshark.com/outspoken. If you are watching this though on YouTube or Rumble, you can just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show. But look, what has been really fascinating, though, P-Dina, over the last week is the American media, including the American media that used to be very positive about Meghan, waking up to the fact that actually she is a commercial disaster. These headlines are bad, P-Dina. Why do Meghan Markle's projects keep failing, keep flopping? Of course, Polo didn't even come close to the top 10 in the UK or the US. There was no promotion around these things. So, you know, it's bad. It's bad.
I mean,
isn't
they
it?
didn't even try. They did not even try to.
But wasn't that because they knew how bad it is?
Yeah, it's
Even they
like,
know.
and then the guy from Spotify say that they came to him with some really embarrassing ideas. Like
Yes.
Harry thought he could interview
Putin.
I mean,
And the Pope. Putin and the Pope.
and this is the best. Look, Dan, this is the best it's ever going to get for them. Look, you are. I mean, think about it. Out of all the ideas, this was the best. Okay, it is such a disaster for this couple. It's going down. It's going to continue to go down, and it's a wake up call for Harry. He knows it's bad, you know. So I am just perplexed by it all. I mean,
Yeah,
they didn't even try to make it work.
No, and look, I know Meghan thinks she's saving up for the lifestyle series, the cookery series, whatever it's been involved into. I mean, the one thing I will say, P-Dina, they have been very good on keeping a lid on the details of that project, because we don't even know what celebrities agreed to appear as part of it. I mean, Serena Williams was dragged into Polo. God knows why she did that.
She looked miserable.
Yeah,
I know. When I saw
totally
her,
miserable.
she just looked. She barely was trying. I mean, I don't know, but there was some talk though about Netflix possibly not even allowing that to go forward, her show, because of how bad the Polo was. I mean, there's been headlines around that as well. So, you know, Netflix knows it's a bad deal, and they're not even on the schedule from what I saw for the shows that are coming out in the beginning of the year.
No, and
You
it
know,
hasn't
so
they haven't made any of their top lists.
anything.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's bad.
It's really extraordinary, isn't it? Just how bad it's got. Now,
Yeah.
the other spin that we're getting, P-Dina, is that Prince Harry rushed into marrying Meghan Markle. Now, I'm very suspicious about these stories coming out at the moment. Let me explain, because
Okay.
we have media organizations like the Daily Mail who are trying to make up with Prince Harry. We know that. They don't want him to continue to sue, and they're hoping there's a deal to be done. Right now, he doesn't seem up for a deal. So they're taking information which is already out there, in this case from Tina Brown's book, which was brilliant but was released a long time ago, and they're spinning this information to put a positive angle on why Prince Harry ended up in the situation that he did. So I'm suspicious about it, but I'm interested in your take on this analysis. So the Mail are saying Prince Harry, or they're asking the question, but we know what they're saying, right? They're saying, did Prince Harry rush into marrying Meghan because they both felt her biological clock was ticking? So this is the sort of new way that they are, I guess, giving Harry like a bit of a, what's the word, like an excuse, really.
Yeah.
And
a pass for marrying her.
yeah, exactly. It's like, this is why he did it. She was much older. It was a geriatric pregnancy, if there even was a pregnancy. And of course, if you want to watch my videos with Lady Colin Campbell and Paula M, you'll hear much more about that. But what did you make of this new claim? Because to me, it's rubbish. Harry wanted this woman regardless of the biological clock ticking. He was obsessed with her.
Yeah, well, did you hear the story that possibly she said she was already pregnant and that they
Yeah.
had to get married because of that?
And
So
then
I
claimed she
think
miscarried. And obviously we know she
yes,
did have a miscarriage, but
later.
later, because that's when she wrote about it for the New York Times.
Right. I think this is a situation where he really did want to marry her, and possibly maybe that happened, but there are ways around it. We know Megan had her eggs frozen. If they wanted to be open about surrogacy, hey, they could have married much later and she had her eggs. I mean, that's not a reason. There's a way around that. So I believe Harry rushed into this for deceptive reasons, possibly Megan saying she was pregnant. And if that didn't happen, he didn't have to rush because of her biological clock, because she had frozen eggs. Her father told me that when I spoke with him, and they could have just been open about surrogacy. And so it's not a pass for you, Harry. It's not an excuse. You could have still married this woman with her biological clock being what it is. It's not an excuse for you. So yeah,
Of
I
course,
mean, it was just
of
the
course,
wrong woman.
and you're so right. Actually, it would have been much better if they had been honest. And actually, maybe there
Yeah.
would have been some sympathy if they had been honest about the fact that they were having to
Right.
consider surrogacy options because of her age. But of
Yeah.
course, nothing they do is honest.
Nothing.
Everything they do is filled with an agenda. And actually, it's that same insanity, P-Dina, which is that you hate this institution, you want to bring this institution down, but in fact, your driving, overwhelming desire is to keep your two children, who you've never even allowed to really build any relationship with the King of England, your
Right.
desire in some unhinged marriage to keep them in the line of succession, which means potentially, and we don't know for sure, and we need to know for sure, that we currently have a prince and a princess of England illegitimately in the line of succession. But regardless, we have a prince and a princess of England who are unable to visit England because of the complete paranoia and stupidity of their parents. So it's nuts. Either way, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's just wrong to do this to the monarchy,
Yeah.
and to the children. I mean, they're the ones in the end that are going to pay the price. They're the ones who are not going to have these relationships. There's no photos, with you, the kids and their family. I mean, and imagine how the kids would feel about that growing up later in life. Why don't I have any pictures with the king? I mean, how often can you have a relationship with someone like that and you don't have, I mean, on purpose, you don't have photos, because why again? It doesn't make sense that you are doing something so stupid for petty reasons. It's just them being selfish and not really thinking about the big picture, thinking about what it would mean for the grandparents, for the children. really trying to establish a good relationship because that's what people do. That's the right thing to do. And what I continually look at is how bad of their intentions are. They just don't ever want to do the right thing. And you know what, Dan? People that continue to not want to do the right thing will always have failure. You will always have flops and you will never be taken seriously because behind the scenes in any and everything that you do, you are not there to do the right thing. So you're going to always bring on yourself no success. No good things are going to come to you because you are about doing the wrong thing consistently, and you will consistently have bad things happen to you when it comes around your branding, your careers, and even, I believe, the marriage.
Yeah,
That's
no,
how I see it.
Totally. And of course, it's happened, hasn't it? It's happened because
Absolutely.
she is the most disliked celebrity in the world. More than P. Diddy in the world. And then you've got Ellen DeGeneres, her best mate, at number 3. And then you've got Prince Harry and Oprah Winfrey, both in the list. And I mean, look, I mean, I'm not laughing, but look, the sandwich between Bill Cosby. It's like... I'm sorry. It's
can you imagine what they're saying behind the scenes at home? Can you imagine what life is like?
Denial.
I compare it to that picture. Yeah, it's terrible.
It's racism, probably.
So
it's probably racism, P-Dina.
Yeah,
That's probably what it's about.
Of course.
Isn't that what it's always about? And then I guess for Ellen DeGeneres, it's probably homophobia. So goodness knows what Harry can claim. Maybe the world's anti-gingers. God knows. But... Exactly. But P-Dina, it's so great to have you. Of course, you've got to subscribe to your YouTube channel. It's utterly amazing and much, much more analysis from P-Dina there. But P-Dina, this is the last time I think we're speaking before Christmas. So have an amazing Christmas.
That's right.
And I can't wait to have you back in the new year.
New year. Great things to come. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you,
Same
P-Dina.
to you. Take care.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.